I
Okay,
do.
let's start.
Let's do it. I think one of the best parts for us as a company is we don't pay any players to use our shafts, so it's completely at their discretion what they choose to use. So for us, if you're not paying any athletes to use your product, and such an overwhelming number of athletes choose to use your product, that's very humbling to start. But additionally, we've seen tour success continually build year after year after year. So not only do we see the adoption of the product, but if the product didn't perform at very high levels, we wouldn't continually have these positive tour reports. So it's encouraging to us to see how well that they do, and that they perform the way that they say uh, they'll perform. Um, Inside the shaft business, we talk a lot about materials. Outside of the shaft business, shafts are very much a black science, and no one's really sure what they do or how they work. Um, but I can tell you, uh, we use ultra high grade and ultra premium materials in our premium aftermarket products like Aventus. So for us, materials are measured in stiffness, or what we call tonnage. And essentially, the higher the tonnage of the material, the more stable the product becomes. If we get the tonnage too high, it becomes very, very brittle and it can break, which is what we don't want. But we do know that the higher the tonnage we get, we create a more stable platform. And what that means for golfers is straighter ball flight, more consistent shots on center shots and miss hit shots. So what Velocore does is it combines a pitch 70-ton material and a pan 40-ton. It marries those two materials together the entire length of the golf shaft, and it just creates a very stable platform. So then from that platform, we can build different, what we call bend profiles, which is you have your blues and your reds are higher and your blacks are lower. And then we can create that product in any range of weights and flexes. So we go all the way down to 50 grams and all the way up to 100 grams. That's what Velocore really means. It's a name for a combination of materials that make a very stable product. And what we see in player benefit is the more stable we make the product, we see higher ball speeds, straighter ball flight, and more consistent shots across the face. So that's the key tech there. So one thing that we talk about, and then we had the original Ventus line with Velocore, and now we've created a enhancement of that technology called Velocore Plus. That's in the new Ventus line. And we took that same combination of materials and we increased some of the tonnage. So we increased some of the stiffness, which increases stability. And then we added a third material where original Velocore was only two, to create a balanced feel of the shaft. So what we see in the new product line is you see all the performance benefits as the previous Velocore products with an improved player feel. So as you said just now, the shaft becomes very easy to hit, very easy to load, very easy to hit the center of the face. And then we let those higher tonnage materials create the straightness and ball flight. And we get this question a lot. They say, how can a golf shaft be faster? So we say new Ventus is faster than original Ventus. And what does that mean? Well, because our piece of the golf club is geometrically the same, it's not like changing a club head where you can make it more aerodynamic or change the sweet spot or do these things. Where we see a faster golf shaft is because we improve the on center contact. So the closer you can hit the ball to the center of the face, the higher the ball speed. So the more consistent the golf shaft, the easier it is to do that. And that's where we see increases in speed. It's exactly what you said. You find it very easy to hit the center of the club face. And that's really what drives shaft performance for us. Is speed is wonderful, and that gives players more distance, more yardage, but it's really a byproduct of accuracy. So that's where we get both together, which is great. Two things. It's a combination of materials. It's having high tonnage materials to create stability, and then lower tonnage materials to create better feel. But really, what creates a feel change in the three profiles between red, blue, and black is how we design the bend profile. When we talk about bend profile, it just means which sections of the shaft are stiff or extra stiff or soft or whatever it might be. So we break a shaft into three sections. We say there's a handle section, a middle section, and a tip section. We find that players that have a very smooth golf swing or a smooth transition from the top of their backswing into their downswing. If you give those players a softer handle section and more stiffness in the mid and tip section, it feels very easy to hit, very easy to load. Players that have more aggressive transitions, they prefer a golf shaft that's very stiff in the handle because they're changing directions of the shaft very rapidly and they need extra stability and stiffness in the handle to do that. So that's a Ventus blue versus a Ventus black. So feel is subjective to the player, but that's why we have different profiles is they suit different types of players' golf swings. It just depends on the type of material we use. It's a combination of the cost to produce the shaft, the cost of the materials of the shaft, and we have our products tiered in a way that you could almost say that they're a good, a better, and a best. Whereas Ventus is the best. We also have a mid-tier product that's about $225, and we have an entry-level product that's lower than that. And each of those utilize different types of material. So you have your premium, and the mid-tier has some aspects of the premium line, but a bit less, and then the entry level is a bit less. But every shaft that we make that we put our name on is a performance golf shaft. But when you adjust pricing, it frees up our design team to use more exotic materials and create more performance benefit overall. Well, here's what I would tell you is that a shaft is really a timing mechanism for the golf swing. And so when you start to see a shaft work very well for a player, it just means that that particular bend profile and that weight class and all those things are timing up to that player's golf swing ideally so that they can deliver the club faster and more efficiently. So for us, we are just a component of the golf shaft. It doesn't work without a head on the end and a grip on the other end. So what we try to do is we make sure that our piece is as consistent and as high performance possible. And then you talked about fitting, and it is we give the fitter this series of tools and options so that they can identify the right combination for a player. And that's we look at things from swing speed, swing style, how they transition in their golf swing, how they load the golf club, um, and then we can say, okay, well, here's a bend profile that fits your golf swing, and here's a weight category that fits the tempo of your swing, and here's a flex profile that fits the speed of your swing. So once you have all those working together, that's where you can identify a right combination where a player says what you said, which is it's very easy to hit. It's very easy to hit the center. I don't feel like I have to work overly hard. I don't feel like I have to do extra things. And that's our goal is we want the shaft to perform really well, but we don't want you to feel like you have to work on it. We want it to be as automatic as possible. That's always our goal.
You thank very much, Spencer.
You're so welcome. I'm happy to do it. We can chat anytime.